My name is Rebecca Gard, and this is my Math in the Community reflection project, and my reflection on the semester and the work that we've done. I will be putting more emphasis on the Math and Community lesson, because that is the one that I just did yesterday, and also the one that I feel I learned the most about myself and the students I was working with. Alright, I'm just going to take up like 10 minutes of your time, guys. So, I want you guys to look at this picture just for like 20, maybe 22 seconds. And then, okay. And just, we're going to kind of go around. I just want like 3, maybe 4 people are going to tell me something that they see about this picture. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to call your names. And if I get it wrong, I'm so sorry. I've had to try memorizing like 80 names. What's something you see? It's a good deal. It's a good deal? Yeah. What makes it a good deal? It's a big tent for only $60. Okay.
It's a 9x7.
It's 9x7. Is that feet or inches?
I think it's 5. Probably feet.
How do you know that?
Because if it was like 9 inches, it'd probably be like this big.
It'd only be like this big. Okay. So it's feet.
It says 4 piece.
It says 4 pieces?
Yeah, like a 4 pack.
What's... Oh, you think there's 4 in it?
Yeah.
What else do you guys think P might mean? Just say it.
4 parts.
4 parts?
4 pipes.
4 pipes? 4 people? How many of you guys have gone tent camping, like gone camping in a tent? So does that mean 4 pieces or people? People? It can fit 4 people? All right, so we said it's 9x7. How much like area is that?
63
square feet.
Small, but it's right down here. It's really small though. Yep.
It says 4 feet.
What do you guys think 4P means? 4 persons? All right. You thought it was 4 pounds? Any of you guys gone camping in a tent? All right. How many people were in your tent? 11, 7, 5, 3?
5.
Okay, so how many people does this tent say?
4.
You guys think it's 4?
I can fit these 10.
How much space is in this tent?
56 square feet.
63 feet.
63.
Oh wait. Oh wait.
Yeah. So how much space would each person get in this tent? So we're gonna look at the rate. We're looking at the rate for this. How tall? Well, let's look at 9x7. So someone said that was 63, which would be square feet. So how many square feet would each person get?
I know, but how tall is 10%?
If you had 3 other friends, would you pick this tent?
No.
Why not?
Because it's too small.
It's too small? Why do you think it's too small?
It's just like, I don't know. Well, if there was
You need personal
if
space?
there were 3 other me's, they could probably fit like maybe 10,000 more me's.
How do you decide how much room a person needs? Because someone mentioned, what if they're like shorter and the average person is 5'7"? What's up?
You have to,
Mhm.
like, you have to like, if you want to like have it equally, like distribute it, you have to know the height and the weight of each person, so you can know where to like how much space someone needs.
So it depends on like that individual person. So is this a good like rate to do it by? Is by this tent being for 4 people?
Not really.
Not really?
Well, it depends. If they're super short or yeah,
It would depend on how much
I know how
much space they need.
How tall are the people?
What's up?
5'7", that's the average height.
You have an 8-person tent? All right. So I want you guys to be able to like estimate and like plan these ratios out and the rates. Number is always in a unit rate. 1. So it's something to 1. So how much space per person, per 1 person would be in this tent? How much do you guys think would it be? So we figured out 63 square feet. So you would do 63 divided by 4. What would you get? It's a decimal, but just kind of get around it.
I don't know. You get like 15 point something.
Yep. So it would be 15.75 square feet per person, according to this. So there were 4 of us, but we had 2 tents. Why?
So that 2 people can use each tent.
So 2 people can go in each tent. Is there maybe another reason why we picked that?
So you can have more room.
So you can have more room. Yeah. Or do you think this is a good number? Why are we not? I want you guys to explain it to me. Hang on. All the way back there. Yep.
I think 3 is good because then you have like a good amount of space.
You have a good space in between 3 people. I like that.
I like to say 5 because you can just put the storage, like, you can use the top part of the tent, like, put like a, I don't know, like a hammock tent and put the storage up there.
Okay.
You would pull down the tent. That's why you stack people on top.
Again, I don't know how comfortable that would be.
No, what you do is make like a really like strong hammock, and then you can make like you can stack.
They make
them.
bunk beds for this kind of stuff.
Also, if I turn it inside out, every single place in the entire universe is inside of that tent. Wow.
Okay. What else? Okay, so for my friends that have gone tent camping before,
I don't think physics works.
I don't know. But for my friends that have gone tent camping before, what else do you have to consider when you're picking out a tent? So if I want this tent, what do I need to consider?
You need to like think about how much storage you're bringing, like clothes, like.
How much stuff I need to put in? I still have the same thought process.
Yeah, like packing like
Definitely not.
No?
Definitely not. I'm saying.
Well, did we all have the same kind of plan?
No.
No, I said turn it inside
that-
out, then the whole universe.
Is that okay? Oh, lovely. All right. Well, thank you for your time. That was insightful. Similar to the how many activity we did with the kindergartners, and how I figured out with Arthur. These students very much surprised me in the direction that they went, and the things that they observed in the picture. I had one student explain that, well, it costs this much, and I had no plan on emphasizing on that, as it was. However, it was a ratio and one that I missed. I didn't think about price per foot, but he even mentioned that we could make this into a story problem, which I thought was a very different take on it than I was expecting. So I was very pleasantly surprised on that. When I used my personal example on when I went camping with friends, I got very broad ideas as to why me and my friends brought 2 tents. One mentioned privacy, another mentioned space for our stuff, and made a connection to her own space or tent story, in which she and some of her friends were supposed to leave room for a counselor, but there was no room for the counselor or any of their stuff. So the counselor ended up sleeping outside, and all their stuff got wet at night. So it was really cool to see how my background and other students' background were able to be connected through these math discussions and these math lessons and talks. The thing that I would like to maybe try in the future is letting them talk together more, not so much just telling me. I would love for them to tell each other their solutions, and I believe it was actually in my lesson plan to let them come to a consensus as small groups and then share with me to hear more voices. But these kids were just so excited, there was no holding them back from explaining their thinking. But as I did use equity based and I called on at least a different person every time, I tried not to pick the same person twice. But I will say there were a few that maybe just weren't feeling it, or maybe they were a little more shy, and I let them go because I've been that shy kid, and just being pointed at and saying, "Hey, Daniel, what do you think?" kind of puts you on the spot, and I know that's uncomfortable, and I don't want them to be uncomfortable with it either. So that's where my thought process went with that. One thing that I hope to improve on in the future is my ability to plan for the unexpected. As mentioned, there were multiple instances where I kind of went off script, or the students kind of pulled me off script, and I just could not get it back to where I was. I also forgot where I was, even though I had the rubric and the lesson plan up in front of me. That ultimately went out the window because I had students that were just going so deep into their thought process. I couldn't get them back, and nor did I want to, because seeing them think through this in their own way, I asked them always to explain and to physically show me maybe where they were looking or what they were showing me or trying to tell me. I had a couple get up and point on the whiteboard, which was also beneficial. So I would like to, in the future, save time and for those, and ultimately put that in my plan to have extra time for students to maybe even write down or show how they solve it, because unfortunately I just ran out of time. And same work with the kindergartners. I just didn't want to stop. I did not want to stop the conversation. I didn't want to stop their thought process.
regardless of if it was what I was supposed to be doing or not, or what we were supposed to be talking about, if it went a different way, I usually let it go because I was so excited to see where their thoughts were. And it just emphasizes how every student thinks differently and they tackle a math problem so differently than each other. They might both, you might have a million students solving 2 plus 2, but one might draw it out, one might just write it, one might say, well, 2 cars and make it a story problem. You might have ones that need to count and do a one-to-one correspondence. You may have ones that maybe just know it off the top of their head and they don't have to show anything. So ultimately, it's amazing and fascinating to see these thought processes go through and be shown one on one. I did try to get a response from everybody. In a couple of the clips, there was a instance where I mentioned to a student, "Well, I've already heard from you," because they were so excited to like talk. They apparently don't get a whole lot of time to talk through the math lessons that they have. So this was kind of something brand new to them. And even my mentor teacher was very excited to see this because even she said that they were more engaged than she's ever seen them. But I did try to get at least one person from every table or hear from at least 90% of the class as a whole. And I also did this by just saying, okay, just say the answer. If it was the question, well, it's 9 feet by 7 feet for this tent, so how much square footage is there? And multiple students would say it's 63. And I would say, great, thanks. So I used some equity skills in those instances, and I feel it worked very well. Everyone was very excited and continued to be engaged. I didn't really see anybody else kind of being bored or like, okay, when's this going to be done? They were all engaged, and I was excited for it too. Overall, these math discussions in the classroom open for more diverse classroom talks than just following the script of a typical math lesson. And it pulls on background knowledge of some students and broadens our thinking as an entire classroom because it helps develop everyone else's. The way that one student figures out a problem may help another student figure out that same problem or a different one.